On today's Strictly Vikings, we talk Vikings versus Bears in what was a close game, in which shouldn't have been a close game at all. We're going to take our side-eye look around the league. Does the NFC have a new front runner? I don't know if the Lions are the best team in the NFC or the NFL anymore. I don't know. We're going to talk about it. If we're going to go through our Facebook scroll of the week, Vikings fans are still upset after a 9-2 start to this season. Some unbelievable stuff. We're going to preview the Cardinals game, and of course, we will end it off with our ChatGPT Vikings player of the day. Let's get into it. Today is Wednesday, November 27th, and the Minnesota Vikings are the most disrespected 9-2 football team of all time. The Minnesota Vikings are 9-2. 9-2. And yet you don't hear a peep about them from anyone online, from anyone on ESPN, from anyone on any news network anywhere other than the local ones here. Nobody talks about the Minnesota Vikings. And as much as I care that nobody talks about them, it's kind of nice flying under the radar a little bit, not having all these expectations. And honestly, the Minnesota Vikings are just playing with house money the rest of this season. I made a video on Monday stating that this season has already been a success no matter where it goes. The Vikings have a 98% chance of making the postseason, and if they do, it's a massive success. You can go back and listen to the episodes earlier this season, even before the season started. I said if the Vikings made the playoffs, that is a huge step forward for this entire franchise, just based on where this team is right now. And I saw a meme the other day, and it said Scotty Scheffler and John Daly. And John Daly was just sitting there smoking a cigar. It was Tiger Woods, not Scotty Scheffler. And it had the Vikings 9-2 record. It said Vikings dicking around with Sam Darnold on a rebuilding year, 9-2. And then Tiger Woods is best team in the entire history of the Lions shit franchise, 10-1. So if you can imagine that meme. But it's true. It's like we're just messing around on a rebuilding year. We just happen to be 9-2. We just happen to win close games because we have a great coaching staff, and we're just kind of taking it week by week, seeing where things go. We were not supposed to make the playoffs this year. We were not supposed to be in the NFC North contention. We were not supposed to be in the NFC Super Bowl conversations, which we really aren't, but we should be. But here we are. We're 9-2. Let's get into the Bears game here. Obviously, we're going to start with offense as we always do. They ran the toss play they fumbled on last week. And so the very first play of the game, they ran the toss play that they fumbled on last week. What a great sign to show to your team, like, hey, we're better than that. That was a fluke. We're going to go right back to what works, and we're going to give the ball to Aaron Jones. So I like that. Great message sent to your team by KOC. Maybe it wasn't that deep, but that's how I kind of saw it. Aaron Jones was looking unstoppable early and often. And then that fumble at the goal line was brutal. That is the last way you want to start in a way NFC North game. You got it. Your defense got a 3-and-out. You go down, drive all the way down to the 1-yard line, looking for this momentum to just be swung completely in your favor, and then you give it right back. And Aaron Jones doesn't make mistakes like that usually. You could tell he was pretty fired up on the sideline. He was pissed. I mean, they kept showing him on the sideline. He was just sitting there shaking. He was trying not to crash out, and he almost did. But obviously, he bounced back. He had one hell of a day. He went for over 100, and he had a touchdown, which made up for the fumble. So, crappy start to the game, but he stayed the course, and he finished out strong. Jordan Addison. An absolute career game when this offense needed it the most. When Justin Jefferson is getting double and triple teamed and you need a guy to step up, Jordan Addison did exactly that. He had that and one catch in the first quarter. Have no idea how that wasn't a pass interference. The ref was reaching for his flag, but he just decided not to throw it because he saw him catch it. But at the same time, if the Bears challenge that and it's incomplete, that flag needs to be thrown. That was a pass interference. It was literally the definition of pass interference. Defender gets there early while the ball is in the air. Don't know how they didn't call that. But 8 catches, 162 yards and a touchdown when Jefferson is just getting absolutely mauled all over the place. I've said this before, Jordan Addison is literally Stephon Diggs. And we have Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson on the same team at the same time. That's pretty remarkable. We literally replaced Stephon Diggs with Justin Jefferson and then got another Stephon Diggs. It's pretty crazy. And it's an unstoppable duo. And obviously this offense is very tough to stop. Throw everything you got to stopping Justin Jefferson. We got 3 guys that can make up for it, just like that. And then when Justin Jefferson was being covered one-on-one, it seemed like Sam Darnold was targeting him, but he was just getting harassed. Like, I think he drew at least 2 pass interference penalties, might have been a holding penalty too, but it's an automatic when Justin Jefferson is one-on-one, doesn't catch the ball. There's a flag in there somewhere because that simply just doesn't happen. Sam Darnold arguably had his best game as a Minnesota Viking. He went 22 for 34 for 330 and 2 without turning it over. And down the stretch, he really didn't have any turnover-worthy throws. He was fantastic down the stretch. He went 11 for 13 for 166 yards in the fourth quarter and overtime. All you can ask for from your quarterback. Making big throws, big-time plays, and big-time moments, and that's what big-time players do. And Sam Darnold was a big-time player on Sunday. That's what he does. He steps up. Kevin O'Connell's going to give him the plays. He doesn't need to worry about Kevin O'Connell's play calling. He doesn't need to second-guess him. He doesn't need to do any of that. We have a great coaching staff. And Sam Darnold trusts him. And Sam Darnold just goes out there and makes the throws. He did great. I'm starting not to hold my breath again when Sam Darnold drops back. It got to a point there, the last 2 or 3 games to where it was like, oh, geez, here we go. Especially that Jaguars game when he just seemed unwilling to not throw an interception. So it was good to see him go out there, ball out, and for me to just not really have a heart attack every time he drops back. Nick Mullins might have saved the game. He didn't do anything crazy, but he came in and did what he needed to do. Just completed a pass, got a handoff, couple first downs that the Vikings really needed. Nick Mullins looked good. Way to be prepared. On that last drive when Justin Jefferson scored, Brandon Powell has to sell that shit a lot more. I mean, he didn't even try and sell it. And when Justin Jefferson is streaking that wide open, there's going to be offensive PI because there's no way that just happened. There's no way the Bears just forgot about him. So the ref is automatically looking for that. Like if Brandon Powell literally just turns and looks towards Sam Darnold, they're not going to call it at all. And that's a touchdown, and Justin Jefferson revives his day. And I couldn't even imagine what the offensive stat line would have been if that was completed or not called back, I should say. But he needs to sell that. He needs to sell that more. The end of the game execution wasn't bad by any means. You would love to get that 3rd and 1 after the 2-minute warning to just seal the deal and knee the game out. But at the same time, you don't want to be risky. You don't want to pass it because then there goes 40 more seconds for the Bears. You want to try and get that, but at the same time, I don't think you can pass the ball there. And you're going to kick a field goal to make it a 2-possession game, an 11-point game, which was huge. And I think it was like the best worst case scenario is what I want to say. Obviously, you get that first down, game over. But it wasn't bad execution. Cam Robinson going out didn't help. Quessenberry stepped up big. Robinson should be okay, said KOC, a foot injury. Meanwhile, according to PFF, Brian O'Neill hasn't allowed a pressure in 4 games. Crazy stuff. We never talk about Brian O'Neill, and that's a good thing for offensive linemen. You usually don't want to be talking about them. So great stuff from Brian O'Neill. Excited for what we got at the right tackle position. Overall, this offense played good. Obviously, there was a lot left on the table. Fumbling on the 1 yard line, not getting that 3rd and 1 at the end of the game. Just a couple of key things here and there, but at the same time, they put up the points to win the game. They got it done in the 4th quarter and overtime when they needed to the most. It was an all-around good showing. And don't worry, I'm getting to the meltdown here for this defense. Early injury to Ivan Pace was not ideal. Grugier Hill has played good, and that's who came in for Ivan Pace. But Ivan Pace just adds an element to this defense. He blitzes a lot. He's great in the run game. Maybe he's not the best in coverage, but he adds a different element. He's like the perfect complement to Blake Cashman. Blake Cashman does it all, and he's great in coverage. And Ivan Pace maybe lacks for what, or picks up for what Blake Cashman lacks with blitzing the passer, maybe a little bit in the run game. But that was rough. Anytime you lose a starter, early in the game, it sucks. Caleb Williams is running all over the place. We lost containment a little bit and let him get in his comfort zone with just running around and kind of playing backyard football. That's what Caleb Williams does best. That's why he was the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And we let him get comfortable. We let him do that a little bit. And that's not what we want to do. We don't want to make quarterbacks comfortable. We want to make them uncomfortable. That's what Brian Flores is so good at. And Caleb Williams didn't look too flustered back there. He was looking a little Mahomes-like. Let's just say that. All around defense, it looked rough at times. The Bears were kind of having their way the majority of this game through the run and through the quick pass game. And although I want to give compliments, I'm giving compliments to that Bears offense. They look good. It's just tough to game plan for an offense that's only has 1 game under the belt. This is an entirely new offense with Thomas Brown calling the plays and not Shane Waldron. So it's tough to get a read on these guys when you only have a game to go off of. And B-Flow talked about that earlier in the week too. They did have some big stops on 4th downs. That DJ Moore big play. KOC talks about limiting the momentum when you're playing on the road. And I feel like the defense did a very good job of that, not allowing too many big plays. When they did, they would shut the rest of the drive down. Muff punt, that was such a Bears thing to do. Sometimes you just need to remember that we are playing the Bears and shit like that happens to them all the time. And it's not just like it is a thing of luck for the Vikings, but at the same time, it's just the Bears. Like that's what the Bears do. That's what bad organizations do. That's what bad teams do. And that's what costs the Bears games. It's because they make catastrophic mistakes like that. All right, let's get to the meltdown. You could say it was an absolute meltdown, in which it was. I'm not saying that it wasn't at all, but let's digest it for a second here. The Vikings went up by 11 with less than 2 minutes left in the game. You cannot allow a big play when the Bears get the ball back on offense. They almost did with that kick return. That's the last thing you did. If the Bears don't get that kick return to the opposite 40, this never happens at all. So even then, the Vikings did a good job taking a lot of time off the clock before the Bears scored a touchdown. They left 20-odd seconds on the clock for an onside kick and for the Bears to go get a field goal. That's not that bad of execution on a short field. Although you could, arguably not get the stop the 2-point conversion. You could obviously stop them from scoring a touchdown. But at the same time, it's not the worst case scenario. You didn't allow a touchdown on the very first play. So onside kicks recovered. Fluke. Johnny Munt kind of talked about it. It was just a very wacky situation with the way the ball was rolling. It was trickling. Didn't really have much momentum, but he went to go block. And onside kicks are hard. They're hard both ways. They're hard to get. They're hard to kick. They're hard to defend. It's a million different ways with onside kicks. It's a tricky play because the last thing you want to do is make a catastrophic mistake in that situation. And the Vikings did that. And then you allow a big play in the middle of the field, which you're leaving the middle of the field open because The Bears don't have any timeouts, and you just want that clock to run out. So you leave a play, and it shouldn't have been, you shouldn't allow that big of a play. But at the same time, it's difficult because you don't want a touchdown being let up behind you to lose the game. You'd rather have it be tied than lost. So again, it was a meltdown. Only that would happen to the Minnesota Vikings. Only an onside kick to the Minnesota Vikings, all that. The Vikings had a 99.9% chance of winning with 51 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and they still ended up in overtime. That's pretty insane. Teams that were down 10 plus points in the final 30 seconds of regulation are 0 and 1,882. The Vikings were very, very, very close to being that one team that lost. They were so, let me say that again, 0 and 1,882. When a team is down 10 plus points in the final 30 seconds of regulation. That is insane. John Grenard absolutely balled out. He continues to do so. 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks on the day. He has now 9 sacks on the season. Andrew Van Ginkel has 9 sacks on the season. This defense is legit. This defense is good. It's the identity of this team. And when you have the weapons on offense like you do, and your defense is your identity, you could go places. Why not? Why not? Wrapping it up here. For the first time in franchise history, the Vikings have won back-to-back-to-back road games. Crazy scenario. 3 away games in a row. Now you get 3 home games in a row. The fact that you could go, and Vikings fans can bitch and moan all they want, but at the same time, you just went 3-0 on the road. And although those teams aren't the best teams, 3-0 on the road is never easy. Those are games that NFL teams drop all the time. The Texans just lost to the Titans. Like, shit happens in football. You know what I mean? But the Vikings just continue to win these games. As much as you want them to be blowouts, they're wins. They could easily be losing to these teams. That's what happens in the NFL. And especially in a game in which everything was falling apart and you could have easily folded under pressure, the team buckled down and did what they did best, and they win close games. That's what they do best. They win close games. And that was just another case in this week. They did a great job. No matter how it comes, or who it's against, a road win in the NFC North is never easy, and you just want to escape with a win, and that's what the Vikings did. So good win, 9-2, on to the Cardinals. We'll get to them in a little bit. All right, side-eye look around the league. That snow game on Thursday night was an all-timer. Please don't ever get rid of outdoor stadiums. Please don't ever get rid of Jameis Winston. And the AFC North is the most competitive, fun division in football, I think. Like, those AFC North games could go either way, no matter the records, no matter the teams, whatever it is. Those games could go either way, and they're super fun to watch. And I'm not surprised the Browns won it all. I put money on the Browns. I'm not surprised they won it all. It's the AFC North. That's just what happens. The 49ers look terrible against Green Bay, and of course, the Packers get bailed out playing the backup quarterback. He looked flustered. Terrible situation to play in Lambeau, in the cold, against Green Bay, who's a good team, but like, the verdict is still out. Like, Green Bay hasn't impressed me that much. Like, beating the 49ers, like, I don't think the 49ers are that good. Plain and simple. They have the guys, they have the names, they have a coach, but at the same time, they just haven't been winning games that they should be winning. They were favorites in like however many straight games, and they were the underdogs for the first time in a long time this weekend. It's like the tide is now finally changing on the San Francisco 49ers. They're just not that good of a team anymore. And it sucks because the Vikings beat them, and that was one of their like big wins. But like, everybody's beating the Niners now. It's just not impressive that much. I'm still trying to decide if Jordan Love is good too. I feel like he is, but the interceptions are so bad. And yet, when your team is winning like this, you don't really need to do much. And when he has needed to do much, it seems like he's just like against the Vikings. He was terrible. They got him back into the game, and Packers fans will, oh yeah, you almost blew a lead, but it's like we won. I don't know. It's going to be interesting when we play them again at US Bank Stadium. I feel like the Vikings and Packers always go 1-1, so we'll see what happens. The Lions won again, shocker. They haven't been looking the same though. Well, I guess they just beat the Jaguars by 1,000,000, but at the same time, I don't know. The Colts are a bad team. They beat them. David Montgomery might be hurt. They play the Bears on Thanksgiving. I think they're 13.5-point favorites. Let me check that. That is unbelievable spread for a Thanksgiving game. If that's the case, 10-point favorites. I don't know where I saw 13.5. 10-point favorites at home against the Bears. Divisional matchup. 10-point favorites. That's pretty crazy. Are they the best team in football, though? Because I'm talking to right here, this team. The Philadelphia Eagles. Sunday night, Saquon Barkley looks unstoppable. And as much as Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are great, they're no Saquon Barkley. It's like if you put Gibbs and Montgomery into one, it's Saquon Barkley. And then if you have a full, healthy offense with Hurts, Brown, Smith, Lane Johnson, that offensive line, man, I tell you, that's a dangerous team. And the way they're playing right now, they might be better than the Lions. Honestly, I think if the Lions went to Philly, the Eagles would be favored. But if the Eagles went to Detroit, the Lions would be favored. Obviously, home field advantage matters a lot. But like neutral site, I feel like it'd be a pick 'em. That's a very, very, very close game. Because the way these rookie cornerbacks are playing for the Eagles, Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, it's unbelievable the way they've been playing. And ever since they've been on this win streak, that's when DeJean and Mitchell like really stepped up. And they've been making a huge impact. Cooper DeJean was out there covering Cooper Kupp like it was nothing. He was locking him up. I tell you, he's freaking good. And I tweeted this the other night too. Saquon might be the only running back that could get close to Adrian Peterson's 296. I would be devastated if that record was broken because that's an all-time record for single game, 296 yards. But I tell you, Saquon might be the dude to do it. And he looks like he's having the most fun out of anybody in the league right now. He's so glad he's out of New York. I'm glad he's out of New York. He looks great. I'm good. I'm glad for Saquon, man. He's balling out. The Commanders might not be good anymore. I kind of gassed them up earlier in the season, but everyone was gassing them up. They just don't look that good anymore. Losing as 11-point favorites to a team that had absolutely nothing going for it at home is an awful look. That's an awful look. When you're trying to, turn the page on what this Commanders franchise has been for so many years, but then you lose a game as 11-point favorites to your rival, to a team that hasn't looked good at all, that's a bad, bad look. That Kevontae Turpin spin move was absolutely disgusting. One of the craziest plays I've seen on a football field. He got like 6 guys with that one juke. Just terrible, terrible special teams all around all day. The fact that the Commanders got another miracle Hail Mary-esque with Terry McLaurin like that is insane. And I don't know why you didn't go for 2. Siebert already missed like 2 field goals on the day. And then he misses the extra point and you lose. Go for 2. Just win it. Just get out of there with a win. Especially the way that game was going. Just crazy. That last spot in the NFC wild card, I'm almost positive the Vikings and the Packers got the 5 and 6, or the Lions. What the NFC North's got the 1 seed, actually not the 1 seed, but the NFC North's got 3 of those playoff seeds wrapped up. It seems like. So that last spot in the NFC, that 7 seed, that's up for grabs right now. Chiefs win by a field goal against the Panthers. It's crazy that a team can like go out there, sleepwalk through a game, and then just come out and win. And it's like people are going to bash the Chiefs for winning these close games, but at the same time, it's like they're winning. Who cares? If they keep winning close games, that's their identity. They just win close games. And it's not a fluke that they're winning these games. They have Patrick Mahomes, a great head coach, a good defense. When they need to sack up in the clutch, they can. Patrick Mahomes, that's just what he does. And it shouldn't change when it comes to the playoffs. Like, I get they're mediocre teams and they're not blowing them out, but at the same time, it's just like they just win. That's what they do. They just win games. The Texans win doesn't look so hot right now. The verdict is really still out on this team as well. I'm not sure if they're good or not. CJ Stroud has not looked like he had all of the back half of last season, even the beginning of this season. CJ Stroud has just not looked that good. He's missing throws. He's missing Nico Collins. And I know Nico Collins was out for a while, but still, it's like something's just a little bit off. Texans fans are like calling for Bobby Slowick to be fired. He was about to get a head coaching job last season. It's crazy. I mean, a loss to the Titans is just, it's bad. The Buccaneers smoked the Giants. Imagine that. The Giants still suck without Daniel Jones as their quarterback. I get why the front office did it. They didn't want to commit all that money to him. They didn't want him to get hurt. I understand that. But the fact that people thought this team would just be like better without Daniel Jones is crazy. It's crazy to me. And I have my alerts on my phone because I'm waiting for the Vikings to sign him. It would be in Daniel Jones' best interest to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. This is where backup quarterbacks or quarterbacks on the last leg of their careers come, get revived, and then go sign another quarterback. Kevin O'Connell's record with Josh Dobbs, Sam Darnold, Nick Mullen, and Jaron Hall as his starters is 12-8. That's a group of guys that shouldn't even be considered for starting quarterback jobs in the NFL. And yet KOC is 12-8. And even if Daniel Jones comes here and doesn't play and is just a backup or even on the practice squad, he's going to gain some valuable information. He's going to gain some confidence, and the Vikings will send him off to his next team, revived, ready to go, ready to play for an NFL team and make an impact. It is in Daniel Jones' best interest to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. Point blank, period. And I wouldn't mind it. Maybe Daniel Jones plays great in practice and he works his way up to third string, second string quarterback, whatever it is. He was a starter in this league for 6 years. Daniel Jones, if KOC can make Josh Dobbs look credible and get another contract, he can easily do the same with Daniel Jones. It's just a matter of time. Cardinals lose a tight one to the Seahawks. That offense did not look good for the Cardinals. And we're going to get to the Cardinals in a little bit, but man, they could not get anything going. Kyler Murray looked rough. They bottled him up quite a bit, and it was a rough outing for that Cardinals team. I'm telling you, the NFC West, nobody wants to win that division, it seems like. But now it almost seems like if one of those teams gets hot in the NFC West, they could make a run for the wild card. We'll see what happens. All right. Who decide I look around the league? Let's get into the Facebook scroll. Not too many posts today. A lot of Vikings fans bitching and moaning about nothing. First one, Kevin O'Connell needs to be fired. He is terrible. 341 comments. Get ratioed, buddy. Get ratioed on Facebook. It's crazy to me that people think KOC should be fired. The stat I just read off, 12-8 with those quarterbacks starting. That is a testament to how good of a coach Kevin O'Connell is. It's crazy to me. Take away last season, injury-riddled season. All we have done under KOC is go 22-6. 22-6. Even if you want to include the losses at the beginning of last season with Kirk Cousins playing, add those in. It's still an insane record that the Vikings would be lucky to have. KOC is a great coach. Incredibly shocked at how this team has performed so far this season, but they are a finesse team that will get their asses handed to them by Detroit or Philly. Just being honest. They are not built to win in the playoffs. Negative. It's unbelievable to me Why can't you just sit back and enjoy a win? 3 straight road wins. Who cares if we're going to get smacked by Philly or Detroit? We were never supposed to be good this season at all. The Vikings were supposed to miss out on the playoffs, finish last in the NFC North, have a bunch of issues to fix going into 2025. Not saying that we don't, but just be happy with the win, dude. Philly and Detroit are Super Bowl contenders, and they're going for the Super Bowl this season. The Minnesota Vikings are going for the Super Bowl, but they were never supposed to be. This is how this season wasn't supposed to be. Just enjoy the ride, man. Someone said, we can piss and moan about how the Vikings gave up 11 points in under 2 minutes, or we can enjoy the fact that they didn't panic, pulled it together, and won it in overtime. Facts. We can bitch about the fact that the Vikings can't put away bad teams, or we can enjoy the fact that it just won 3 road games in a row. Facts. We can gripe about how the Vikings have no chance in the playoffs, or we can enjoy the fact that they are 9-2 and doing much better than anyone seriously expected 3 months ago. Facts. That's literally what I just said. I don't need to do it. Someone posted a graphic. We're comparing Patrick Mahomes and Sam Darnold. Yards, Sam Darnold. Completion percentage, Patrick Mahomes by a wee bit. Touchdowns, Sam Darnold. Interceptions, Sam Darnold's better. Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions. QBR, Sam Darnold better. I'm not comparing Sam Darnold and Patrick Mahomes, but this graphic is, and I'm just reading the facts. Take what you want with that. Andrew Van Ginkel is the first player since Terrell Suggs in 2008 to record 8 sacks and 2 touchdowns. Andrew Van Ginkel, man, the Minnesota Viking himself, AVG. He's a beast, dude. 8 sacks and 2 touchdowns. That's a crazy stat line. Crazy stat line. I thought this was funny. The Vikings cut, not funny. Sorry, not funny. The Vikings cut Nick Muse on his birthday. Nick Muse seemed pretty happy about it. He made NFL history. Only him and I think it's the first set of brothers that have been cut from an NFL team on their birthdays. It happened to both of them. That's insane work. Feel bad for Nick Muse. I think he's going to sign to the practice squad. It'll all be okay. Vikings making a roster spot. Daniel Jones, man, I'm telling you. Someone said, hey, no one is talking about Mullins. 100% completion rate. Number 1 in the NFL. That guy needs a raise. And then the person put, edit. This post is just for fun. Like, people can't even have fun on Facebook. You need to say a post is just for fun in order for it to be just for fun. Otherwise, people will take you dead seriously and will start calling you out and start calling out all the other stuff you've done in your life with your family and your kids. Blah, 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 blah. Like, they get so butthurt over it. Like, take a step back, just relax, have some fun, man. It's football. It's football. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Don't stress over it. Don't lose sleep over it about someone's Facebook post. Just read the post and laugh. It was a funny post. Nick Mullins deserves a raise. He's 100% completion percentage in the NFL. First in the NFL. So let's not complain here. Too early to bring up the kicker controversy, Romo versus Reichard. Reichard's the guy, dude. You spent a pick on him. He kicked good until he got hurt. You're resting him. That's why they're resting him, because he's the guy. 4 weeks, let him get good, bringing him back. He's the guy. No need to worry about that. Darnold delivers on a game-winning must-have drive in overtime. Where the haters at? Crawl back into your basements of negativity. Skull. It's facts, man. Sam Darnold, he's just out here making plays, brother. He is just out here making plays. That's what Sam Darnold does best. He just makes plays. Whether they're good or bad, he's making plays. It's a fun watch. Hot take. Brian Flores is not a defensive genius. He is good, but teams are figuring out quick passes and screens. Our secondary can't cover anything when it matters. Newsflash, Brian Flores is a defensive genius. He has this group absolutely overperforming to what the expectations were at the beginning of the season, to what they should be doing with this group of guys. He has them overperforming at all costs. It's unbelievable what he's doing. And newsflash, when you're a defense and you're not the steel curtain, like the Steelers or whoever back in the day, the Seahawks, Legion of Boom, you're going to have to give up something. Yeah, the quick passes hurt, but you're not giving up the big plays. You're not giving up anything downfield. You're going to have to give somewhere. And I'd way rather give the short plays, make a field drive down the field, 11, 12 plays every single time in order to get a touchdown. That drives offensive coordinators insane because a lot of them don't have the patience to do so. Brian Flores is a defensive genius. Let's not get that twisted. Jones was sent from Green Bay to sabotage us. I said what I said. See, that's Vikings Facebook. That is like, I don't know how you could ever get that. I'm not even going to. Green Bay wanted him to take a pay cut. Why do you think he came here? For the exact opposite reason, to get back at Green Bay. I had a really bad dream last night. I dreamed we had Aaron Rodgers as the new quarterback. Hey, the path has never been clearer. Packers, Jets, Vikings. It's happened before with the same dude. Could happen again. That concludes the Vikings Facebook Show of the week. Good stuff. People just need to stop bitching. We're 9-2, all right? Vikings punishment updates. I do not have to get Big Cat to tweet at me. I could have done it. I feel like I could have done it easily. But we're never going to have to find out. Next up is playing the new Call of Duty until I get a 5.0 KD in a single game. I don't even have a PlayStation on me right now. My brother has it. So I would have to go down to Mankato to complete this. But I have to go out of town on Tuesday next week. So let's just have the Vikings win. I don't have to do it. Otherwise, there might be a slight delay on getting that done. I haven't played COD in years. But I would imagine I would just be able to play Search and Destroy and just like camp out, get 5 kills, call it there. I feel like I'd be able to do it. I don't know. We're going to find out. Vikings versus Cardinals preview. Big matchup for both teams in the NFC. Both teams trying to keep pace with other teams in their respective divisions. I think the Cardinals have a lot more to lose, obviously. The Vikings have a 98% chance of making the playoffs. The Cardinals are in like the tightest division in football. Any 4 of those teams could win the division. So they need every win they can get. The Vikings open up as 4-point favorites at home. That's I expected that. I think I was more closer to like 3 points, but Cardinals just looked bad last week, so I could see why it opened as 4. Minnesota struggled against the mobility of Caleb Williams last week, and we're going to need to nullify Kyler Murray from doing that because Kyler Murray is a lot better at it than Caleb Williams. Kyler Murray's a lot better than Caleb Williams at scrambling, doing all that with his legs. A lot more dangerous to do it too. I don't know if he's as much as dangerous as Caleb Williams is when he's rolling out looking downfield. But Kyler Murray, he's not a bad quarterback. Not anything world-beating either. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison are real weapons. McBride has been getting fed lately. The Vikings match up pretty good against tight ends. I think they're the top 12 in the league when it comes to opposing tight end production. So that'll be an interesting matchup. We have 3 really good safeties that could match up against them. So I expect one of those guys to be matched up on them. The Cardinals defense I'm not too worried about. They're a little bit better in coverage than they are in the run game, but still they're towards the bottom half of the league and almost in a lot of defensive statistics. So again, nothing world beating. It's kind of been what's been holding this team back. Not last week, but the defense is rough and shaky. So we'll see how that goes. I expect the Vikings to be a close game. Shocker. But of course, the Vikings are going to come out on top. Why not? They're one of the best teams in the NFC. All right, I'm going to ask ChatGPT here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Another great episode. A lot more on the way. I know we don't have a guest this week. We had to reschedule. We are planning on next week. Big guest. Great guest. You guys are going to love him. Spread the news. Spread the word about the podcast. Tell your friends. Let your family know. Everybody. And DM me on Instagram, Strictly Leighton. If you listen to the show, please DM me. Give me thoughts, give me reactions, whatever you guys want to hear, what you don't want to hear on the podcast. I'm taking it all in. I appreciate all the feedback. I appreciate all of you guys that tune in and listen. All right, name the most random Vikings player you can think of. I'm going to guess Phil Lodeholt. I don't know why that's talking to me. Here we go. Everyone got it in? I feel like we got this dude last time. All right. I'm gonna say, how about another one? It was Keniche Udeze. I feel like we got him last week. How about another one? Check. Oh my God. Check Hanulek. He was a wide receiver for the Vikings in the 1960s. When would I ever get this? Hanulek played just a few seasons for the team and is pretty obscure in Vikings history. His name doesn't come up often, and he did have a brief stint in the league during its early years. Well, yeah. Who would ever get that in a million years? Nobody would ever get that in a million years. I'm literally never going to get this. All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a good Thanksgiving. Let me be the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family and friends. It's valuable. Most important people in the world are your family. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.